Let's move to the Anglers Break Down Your Water segment. Now, this is Anglers app. For those of you who don't know, most of you do, you're on the Angler page watching this through Facebook. But if you don't know what Angler is a digital logbook and a million other things. There's a lot of capability to it. We got challenges going on in there now, a lot of different stuff. You can go build a digital tackle box, keep up with all your gear, have kind of like a inventory of what you have and what you need to get. So there's a lot to it, but one of the cool things about it, and we're going to hope the technology works with us here. We're going to pull up the Angler app and we're going to look at one of the suggested lakes. We put out a poll, asked what lake do y'all want us to break down. John and I'll go through and give you some terrible advice. And we got
your advice is going to be terrible, but mine's going to be pretty good. I'll be honest.
That's solid. I like the confidence, John. We're going to do Houston Gaddy's. Houston Gaddy gave us West Point Lake. So that's what this beautiful reservoir is here beside us, and that's in the Angler app. So here's West Point. Where do you want to start? You want to go up river, down river, at the dam? What's going on? We got what, spawn and post spawn, shad spawn going on? What's going on West Point?
Yeah. Right now, I would imagine the spawn's going to be rocking and rolling, and they're going to be the shad spawn's probably just starting down there. It would take all of about one morning to figure that out, but if you scroll in a little bit on that lake, I can tell you from where that main ramp is, it's about 2/3 of the way up the lake, something like that.
In the mouth of that, seems like right here, maybe.
Where are you at, bro? Scroll back out. I can't see what you're looking at.
That's kind of up there above the three creeks to the left. I think it's right below that big bridge and causeway and all. Isn't that where the elites took out of when Kennedy won?
Scroll back out. I can't. You're at the lower end of the lake, I believe.
It's kind of, the satellite image is kind of darker on parts of it and lighter on parts.
Okay. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So what we're going to end up having is some of it'll be shot in a winter pool situation with the water's down.
Yeah, the water's down on that shot. I can see it now because that big brown area right there is the beach out in front of where we were beaching our boats.
Yeah,
in front of that field where we had the weigh in. Yeah, that's it. So basically, from that area of the lake down is good for spawning, man. I mean, they spawned everywhere. Every little pocket, every creek seemed to be pretty good for spawning. And there's a lot of little creek arms and protected pockets, and they were in the backs of almost every one of them. We went there one year when it was on the very tail end of the spawn, and I did catch a few off beds. I know Ish did pretty well in the tournament. He caught most of his fish off beds. I know Skeet made top 10. He caught most of his off beds, and so the spawn and bite is definitely something to go after. But then early in the morning, the first hour, you are a fool not to go after the shad spawn. And basically every bridge on the lake is going to have shad spawn around it, and then there's a one or two marinas down on the lower end of the lake. Those ones were loaded. I'm telling you that the first hour, the first 30 minutes especially, but that first hour of light was red hot. The spinnerbait, dude, they were just eating the blades off the spinnerbait. Yeah, that was the one. That one right there for sure. And then and like I said, any of those bridges, any rock in the like the secret deal. I'm showing you the obvious stuff. The secret deal were the rocky riprap banks that are not on bridges. If you can find some of those on that lake, where those shadows spawn right on them, and it like a little 50-foot section ain't going to cut it. It needs to be like a couple 100 feet or a couple 100 yards of rocky bank. If that's riprap right there, what you're looking at, that should be going on.
We're going to say that's riprap for sure.
Yeah, well, if it is, that's the kind of stuff that's not that's going to be really key. That is not going to be it's going to be overlooked by most anglers that are going out there. But like I said, if you can fish at night, you could probably go to them same places and fish at night and catch you some too, which is a lot of fun. But you just got to be real safe with the recreational boat traffic and not running over shoals and all that kind of jazz. But that's kind of where I would start. The spotted bass are always going to be they don't win tournaments on West Point, at least as of last time I was down there. They don't win tournaments down there, but them spotted bass are always going to be on those shallow, flat, rocky points on the lower end of the lake. any kind of brushy areas. I mean, I'm talking within, a mile or two of the dam. That's where those spots seem to gang up, and they'll be even out as far as 10, 15, 20 feet deep, even during the spawn. Those spots seem to stay on them deals, but like I said, that's probably not something that you're going to do to contend to win. The largemouth are going to be what you want to do to win. And then once you messed around with them spawners and you messed around with those shad spawn and stuff in the morning, you can either throw a wacky worm or some type of floating worm action, a quiver, weightless quiver, fishing that, letting it walk around in the backs of those pockets. You'll catch a lot of those fish that are either garden fry or just cruising the banks. And that was one of my main deals when last time we were there, right, on the tail end of the spawn. But then from about where the ramp is up, man, that the buzzbait, buzz toad type bite is a good way to catch a big fish. Now you could do it for 3 hours and not get a bite, but you could also do it for 2 hours and catch 2 5-pounders. So that is a big fish type, hero zero kind of thing. And if you need a big bite or two, that's a good way to do it right around this time of year.
There's a lot of water above that part of the lake. Is it more stained usually because it kind of bottlenecks in these places?
Yeah, it's a little more stained generally. I think the one creek off to the right, from what I remember, is named Yellow Jacket Creek. That's always a good creek. It's got 1 or 2 bridges in it. Yeah, that's Yellow Jacket right there.
So do you like to find that the buzzbait type stuff?
Yeah, I mean, just in them pockets, that just running pockets and banks. Like right around that second bridge. I fished a lot in that vicinity. I think the last time we were there.
Cool. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're herring also?
No
West Point herring?
No, not in West Point. Different river system.
There's herring on Lake Martin now. There's herring everywhere, man. I'm tired of it.
I mean, somebody could have planted them in there, but they're not in there. West Point drains into, I think it's I don't know what is that. That's Chattahoochee, I believe, and it runs into another lake and then into Eufaula, I believe.
I think Hardin and then Goat Rock and then Eufaula, I believe.
Goat Rock?
It's like this little lake below Hardin. I've never been there, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's like a little river lake. Yeah.
All right, so cool. What about? So it gives you something to do up in the day. You got the shad spawn, the spawn. You ever go way up this river?
I've gone a pretty darn good ways up there, to where it got extremely hairy and sketchy. But you can take a jet boat and run as far as you want to run up there, and it gets good. And there's big largemouth and big spots up there. But I mean, you got to go, from what I understand, a pretty darn long ways to get to where the goods are.
Yeah,
and, you can absolutely do it in a a fast jet boat, but to do that in a bass tournament, it's kind of a tough deal, from what I understand.
Yeah, it looks like the water was down a little bit in some of these shots, so you can tell it's pretty sketchy. Yeah,
you come on down a little further is about right about there. Yeah, that right about there. There's that big arm off to the right. I went just a little past that.
It's like the water's full. You can slide right in there pretty easy in the back.
Yeah, you can. You can. I went on past there just a little ways, and then I was I got a little tight in the buttocks.
Yeah, you got a little drawed up. You drew it. Cool. Good talk. All right. So, what else we got for them on the breaking down your water? Got anything else for West Point Lake here?
I mean, that's West Point right there. I mean, I just see somebody asking about, water temperature to throw top water. And it doesn't matter if it's Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, North Carolina, Virginia. It seems like 55 degrees is where the top water starts to come into play. And then 60 degrees is where it really starts to come into play. So, like here in Virginia, most of the water base temperature is 60, maybe a touch over. Top water is definitely in play if you want to do that. I don't really throw top water a whole lot until right around towards the end of the spawn, unless I'm throwing a buzzbait in stained water. I'll throw that 55 to 60 degree water. But if, until I'm throwing like a walking bait or a popper or a frog, I'm usually waiting until the middle or late in the spawn to start throwing that.
What's the coldest water and now I have a reason for asking this question. What's the coldest water you've ever caught a fish on top water?
I think 56 degree water, 55, 56.
I was on West Point one time, a very ignorant young lad, and had a rivet tied on because I had been out there the weekend before. I was practicing for an Auburn college tournament, and I didn't catch much at all that day. It was sunny, it was pretty. It was still very cold, but it was a nice warm week. And I caught like a 3 and a 4 on a rivet, Stanley rivet. And I mean, the water temp was in the low to mid 50s that day. I went back, and we'd had a pretty good cold front, and there was no chance they were going to bite that. But I had those 2 fish in my mind. There was like 2 little patches of grass in one of these creeks down here to the left. I can't remember which one it was now. I think it was right around that bridge, actually. But I went back. So I spent the first 2 hours, not catching anything, freezing to death. And I pulled that rivet out, and I swear, I think it was actually this bridge. I threw that joker up on the rip wrap, just completely ignorant, and was reeling it back. And I had one of the hardest topwater strikes I've ever had in my life. It weighed 646. The water temp was 49 degrees.
Damn.
The bite I had all day. I weighed it in like 10 pounds and won. The guy had a 656 and 4 dinks to go with it and won the tournament. But yeah, that's my whole West Point experience and story right there. I've been there like 4 or 5 times. I do not love that place. It can be really tough, but it can be really good too.
Yeah, I like it. It's not loaded with fish, but it's got some good ones in it. Obviously, as you're talking about.
I'm gonna put a waypoint here, and it's a useless frog.
Random giant topwater bite.
Frog hole for winter. And that's where I told you that I was going to lead people astray as you tried to help me. I mean, it did happen. It's a fact. But,
I promise you the shadow spawn on that little bridge.
Yeah. So anyway, not right. And it actually may have been this bridge. No, that's not a bridge. Yeah, maybe it was that bridge. It's one of these creeks right here. That's completely useless. But the cool thing is we broke down somebody's water on Angler. So
yeah.
We actually built a map a couple days ago, you and I, for Lake Hartwell, which is a lake you fished a good bit. And we did the same thing. We've got, I think we ended up with 10 pattern points. We dropped like this, showing you places where you can find fish spawning. That's not a place where John's caught 25 pounds. The point of what we're doing here is to give you some places to look, includes to start your process of going out and practicing and figuring out what you want to do. You can pull up that map inside the ANGLR app. We'll have a link below anywhere this video is posted, and you can go in and pull up the app, and you can see we'll have notes on there where we're marking like a secondary point, which is a good place to look for. I think that was when John was trying to show us where spots were bedding, maybe. Or so you can go in there, and then you can read the note, and then you can look around in the app and drop waypoints that you want to go check, drop some pattern points around where you want to go check when you do go fish that spot and try to expand on what he's giving us note-wise. So it's a pretty cool deal. We'll have that link to that map of Lake Hartwell for the spawn, and I believe we did spawn and shad spawn and herring spawn were the 3 things we focused on. So that'll be pretty cool, and time to move on to the next